Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 9th of January. So, before we get on and look at the technicals as ever, let's look at the fundamentals, what's happening here, what we've got coming out today. Very little. Just make sure I'm on this week and not next or last. That's better. Well, it was this week. Okay, so retail sales already out for Australia there, coming out slightly better than expected. Aside of that, that's pretty much it for today. It is really looking forward to Thursday when some of these markets might get a bit more movement. We've got the inflation data coming out for the US again. With so much focus sitting there on did I say interest rates, inflation rates, but we've got so much interest on interest rates. This will be quite key. Okay. Let's look at the technicals then, and starting off with the euro dollar. Now I'm looking at all of I say the majors, but the majors, and all of them are in a very similar or inverted version, depending on whether they're euro dollar or X dollar or dollar X. So let's have a look through them anyway. Euro dollar itself, well, you can see what's happening here. Last week we had actually better movement on some of these markets than we did have this week. So far, inside day yesterday, very sticky old day. You see what's happening here. This is 4 hourly bars. This was yesterday. Pretty much sideward choppy action. There we go. Just running through. We are seeing the sort of movement, if there is any movement, coming in the afternoons again. So personally, I'd probably sit there and be patient largely, unless something really good sets up. But at the moment, this is looking like we've got more of the same sort of setting up here. Now you can get teased into these sort of trades. You'll get all of a sudden you get a little bit of movement above there. You get the next bar comes in, it just chips in, maybe takes out a high or something like that. Only for 2 bars later to have been in and taken out the lows. So a bit of patience needed. You can see what's happening. Just wait for it. Wait for it to come to you. Don't go chasing, as they say. Okay, the pound dollar got more of a drift going on here, maybe, but it's an ugly old drift with quite biggish retracements yesterday. Well, again, it was the afternoon there. It's like 2 o'clock when it started kicking out of this pivotal turn sort of price action that was sitting there. Today we've not even clipped the pivot yet, and I'd rather see the daily pivot hit before I even consider anything long. This often changes post 8 o'clock, so it's a bit of a patience game again today. But we're in a bit of a mixed bag, because the bigger picture is certainly up. The intermediate, well, it has actually, or potentially, going to change around here if we get a break of Friday's highs there. That goes higher low, and as I say, it's creeping its way up the pound, and perhaps we'll get something more, but the pound is probably the least favored of the lot. Looking at dollar yen, I've actually put an alert on this, which means it will probably never get there the way it's running. But yeah, it's turned around since I put the alert on there. Even we're just running through at the moment. I'm sure it's looking worse than it is at the moment. But anyway, it's putting lower highs, lower lows in there. But for me to be interested in this market, and maybe even on a swingy side, I need to see the breakdown here. I'm just really waiting for that to happen. On this intermediate time frame, the 4 hourly time frame, you can see the higher low kicking through, and it's, well, at the moment perhaps it's got more upside. Morning, Dean. Perhaps we've got more upside to come, but mixed bag. It needs to be below the pivot for me to be interested. Anyway, Aussie dollar. Again, the same sort of picture as what we're seeing with the euro here. Lower highs, lower lows on the intermediate time frame, bullish looking upper time frame, and flat short time frame. So there we go. US dollar CAD, again bearish looking. Well, I say it's inverted here, this, so it's a bearish looking lower time frame, but you can see the same old chop that we've been sitting in for the last few days here. Again, I would really be looking for it to break the pivot, the weekly pivot there, to be interested on the lower side of things. I was looking at it from a daily pivot. It looks quite nice. If this had been a downward trend on the bigger time frame, this would be all set up for me for a continuation to the downside. But at the moment, patience needed. New Zealand dollar exactly the same, or pretty much exactly the same as the Australian dollar. How can it be pretty much? But similar to the Australian dollar, very similar to the Australian dollar. Lots of chop on the 4 hourly here. So we got the bigger picture really pushing, looking to push up the intermediate zone here, just chopping along, not giving any clear direction when it's shown reflected here. On the lower time frame, onto the hourlies. Okay, dollar Swissy. So again, looking in the inversion effectively of the euro, and it's there you go. Morning, Ravi. Again, it's just choppy as anything here at the moment. Similar price action to what we're seeing elsewhere. Intermediate time frame, it looks like it could trickle over, and I was looking at it here. We've got sort of, again, potential movements coming, but the overall picture isn't really that appealing. I've sort of highlighted it, but it seems to be the sort of best of a bad bunch, really. And the concern I always have in these markets is you end up sort of looking for what is the best, but the best of a bad bunch isn't really one to go trading, is it? Okay, so euro yen 4 hourly looking. It's trying to put a pivot swing in there, or it has put a pivot swing in. It hasn't closed yet, of course, until a bit later, but looking marginally positive, but lower highs, lower lows on the hourlies here. This could all change, get back above the pivot. Might have something coming from it, but for now, this ugliness on the dailies, it's just not attractive. Euro pound looks okay on the downside potential. Now we have got on the dailies here. We've got the dailies coming off, 4 hourlies coming off. We've got something in line here. Steady on. Lower highs, lower lows, and it's been trickling its way down here. Now I'll put a little alert at the low of the previous 4 hourly bar, hourly bar here, just to see if it triggers into anything. Again, it's a bit of a drifter. Yesterday it started drifting 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're sort of seeing these 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock moves, which it might be what we're going to end up seeing again. If you look at the day before, look, 2 o'clock. What's that? That was Friday, of course. But looking back here, actually, yeah, Wednesday was just an unusual day because it all just sort of clicked off from the morning. It's a bit of a surprise. Anyway, this is just, we'll see how this develops. But going through the rest of the markets, well, I'll have a look in the room after the video here. So if you want to come in, just join it. There's a link at the bottom of the YouTube video. Looking at the indices, but first gold. Let's just get the dailies here. It's a deep old flag. If we were looking at it as a flag, lower highs, lower lows, it's really just not attractive on the intermediate time frame, and lower time frame really not looking particularly attractive. If anything, it looks like a break of the daily pivot. I'd be more interested on the downside than the long side on this. So another one probably to steer clear of for me. Oil, what's going on with oil? Well, it dropped off again yesterday. It's really good. I think we're going to end up in a bit more of a consolidation zone. We've already started it, and it looks like, well, we could be stuck in this area. It's probably a level that can suit both sides. It's not as expensive as the oil companies would like. It's not as cheap as the retailers would like. I'm just looking at it. If anything, it really came off. It came off relatively early yesterday, 10 o'clock. We saw it coming off there and pushing through again in the afternoon, but it already come off quite so far. Okay, equity markets, well, don't write them off. So we got the move up yesterday. Pushed on, followed through there. At the moment, got a sort of flaggy pattern sitting here on the hourlies, very tight and consolidated. But as I say, yesterday it just went again from the afternoon there, 2 o'clock onwards, shifting on. Personally, in the current state of affairs here, I would look for seeing what happens later in the day, towards 2 o'clock. I say later in our day, towards 2 o'clock. The morning session, US wise, NASDAQ just come down the time frames. A very similar bit of price action. You could easily be thinking of the same market when you just look at the price action. Dow Jones just holding up there, consolidated. The DAX traders now again. Yesterday saw the shove up. It's a real mixture in terms of what we see in intermediate time frame. Okay, that was last week. We've got to wear that out and look at really what's happened yesterday, and it was quite a positive sign. Again, we've got the sort of bull flag sitting there. Obviously, for me, I'd like to see it coming back and testing the daily pivot and see what reaction we get off of that first. FTSE finally. Same sort of price action. We're still creeping up there slowly. Yesterday pushed through marginally. It's really sticky. And again, as yesterday, look, it was what time was it? It was 4 o'clock. It was quite late when it really got a kicker stepping in here, but it has followed the other equity markets. Just see what happens here. It might not even get down to its pivot the way it's sitting at the moment. But I'd rather wait a bit later in the day to see what's happening with these. We're certainly being led by the US markets at the moment. Okay, that's pretty much it for the YouTube here. I'm back in the room in a few moments, so as I say, you can join. There's a link at the bottom. I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Otherwise, bye for now.